banning of payment for order flow, because in these proposals, I see certain things stripped away to make it less of an incentive for broker dealers, make it less of an incentive for market makers or hedge funds to even participate in payment for order flow with brokers. But if you look at 2004, when Citadel says, hey, this should be banned, we should get rid of it. If you look at the UK saying this should be banned, we should get rid of it. I think what I got a lot of feedback from other retail investors is, why not just go ahead and ban it? Because in my point of view, if we are trying to make the capital markets fair, I shouldn't have to remove myself out from my broker and put it into my name in an entirely different transfer agent so that I feel secure that I'm getting best execution. I'm not trading off exchange. I'm not going through internalizers within that particular firm, because to be honest with you, some of them that call themselves market makers, I just think are high-speed speculators. I'm just being honest. But to strip away some of the incentive and some of the inducements, it doesn't necessarily calm the spirit to know that this thing still exists, because after all, we know who created it, right? We know where it came from. So my question to you is, why not just go ahead and take that step and say, okay, I propose it gone? Because the market was bracing for that. It was all over everywhere. We talked about it. And then we get the proposals, and I believe that they do have great things in there. Sub penny, best execution. These things are all needed. But I think with the engagement of retail investors, because I remember we talked about it, it was 100,000. I really need to impress upon you that this is a worldwide thing. Like, we have apes, we have retail investors in every corner of the world that look at this stuff. And if you can't tell, you can look at when you have an SEC meeting, how many people are tuning in to listen.
Why not any comment file at this point?
Why not go ahead and take that step? Because I think that's where the disengagement comes, right? That's where the disengagement and negative sentiment comes from, is that we are pointing out these things. These things have already been proven. What is it going to take to get it done, and who to direct us to get it done? Because right now, I'm a stair step type of guy. I believe one rung at a time. I can't jump in, so that's why I'm here asking you these questions.
Do I call you Jay?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Jay, look, I think you raise a good question, but actually we tried to go in the proposals directly at some of the conflicts and some of the lack of competitive level field. I actually think we went further. I don't know that you were saying this, but some have said we went less than, as you said, maybe banning payment for order flow. I think we were trying to go directly at each of the components. That importantly, that there would be, we'd harmonize across both the dark market and the lit market these minimum trading increments, that we would ensure that if you put a marketable order in, you had to get some competition unless they could get you mid-market or better. And then even in the best execution, I would note, it's just in the current system, there are brokerage houses that use payment for order flow, but there are also brokerage houses that pay no payment for order flow that are still sending their marketable retail orders to the wholesalers. And so even, I'm just going to say, even if there was no payment for order flow, the bulk of marketable retail orders are going to the dark markets. And we thought,
generally,
how can we better instill competition for those orders?
But that, it's I've heard that, of course, argument made before, but of course, the firms that don't accept payment for order flow for equities still do for options. And one could wonder if, not taking it for equities is more marketing than anything else, given that 70% of payment for order flow is in the options market, right? Now, we know in 2004, Citadel said the practice of payment for order flow creates serious conflicts of interest and should be banned. We know Singapore last year banned payment for order flow, saying that it introduces conflicts of interest, is likely to cause harm to customers, and is inconsistent with the duty of best execution. Banned in the UK, banned in Canada. Virtu was a longtime advocate for banning the practice and instituting a trade at rule. It seems like there's a lot out there to support just an outright banning of both payment and rebates as well as unnecessary off-exchange trading.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jay.
Go ahead.
What I think that we did in the proposals was to go through to the underlying conflicts, because there are inherent conflicts in payment for order flow, but there's also this lack of a level playing field. And so you're right that a number of the brokers are not even paying for order flow, but still are routing without checking the market necessarily for best execution. So we thought we ought to do that. We ought to do this proposal on the auctions and otherwise. Again, we get the feedback, and your feedback is going to be very helpful in this. But
Okay.
Jay,
I think
quick, Jay, we got to move on to Alex.
All right, real quick. Just in the grand scheme of things, I think that is the core of the frustration with the SEC. I mean, it's just that's what I hear every day, is that your own data shows that it harms. You know what I'm saying? Like we pull all this information from all everywhere, and it shows that this right here is a direct harm to retail investors. This particular thing. Now we can talk about, off exchange trading. We can talk about internalized. We can talk about it's so many different things that we're into now that we weren't before. But I do believe that having these conversations and bringing these things to the attention and to the forefront lets you have a clearer picture of where we are educationally with knowing how markets work and doing our best to do it. Because the thing about it is, on one hand, you have these conversations. On the other hand, you got the pitchforks. And I'm sorry, both are valid. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with it. So thank you for having me, man.
Jay, before you leave, if I can just say, we need to hear if you have disappointments and thought we should go and do something different or further, absolutely. But also recognize there's going to be a lot of comments that we get saying we shouldn't even have done what we did. We shouldn't even have done the auctions or the best execution or the harmonizing the minimum increments. So so please make sure that focus and let us know in appropriate ways if you think that the things that we have in there help the markets and help the efficiency. I mean, we even lowered the maximum they could pay or charge for access to the lit exchanges. So we also did something on the lit exchanges, trying to lower the cost there from 0.3 of a penny to 1/10 of a penny. But we need to hear back from you and others. But I appreciate what you're saying around payment for order flow.
Yeah, we'll
Thanks,
make sure
Appreciate
we stay in contact with you and everything. And I appreciate your having us, because you're going to hear from the people, right? So let's go.
You're our clients.
Right.
Right.
All right.